I want to go directly to the heart of some of what you described in your Uber analogy. And first off, do you know what the sort of average price per kilowatt hour that retail customers pay across the country is according to EIA?
Yeah, it's about 14 cents.
I think it's 17.1 right now. I bring that up because I pay substantially less than that. I am in a utility in central New Mexico. Most people formerly know it as P&M. And I pay about 12 and change cents per kilowatt hour. And yet their generation is largely clean, mostly renewable, with batteries. And they've been able to maintain that cost profile of just over 12 cents per kilowatt hour using renewables and batteries. And I think you are absolutely correct that we should be comparing apples to apples. But today, with a little bit of storage, they're able to manage the grid with low cost and reliability with renewables. So when you paint a picture like they just turn off in the middle of the night or when the wind doesn't blow, that's not my personal experience. That's not how we're managing the grid today. Now, I want to talk a little bit about soaring power demand because that's something that you and I both agree on. You said that soaring U.S. power demand is a train wreck waiting to happen, and that necessitates significant investments and regulatory reforms. Doubling down on unaffordable energy will not get us the energy that we need. NextEra's CEO has recently pointed out the cost per kilowatt to build a gas-fired facility has gone up from $785 back in 2022 to $2,400 today. And he also stated that retirement of every coal plant in America, if we stop that, would only get us an extra 40 gigawatts. Natural gas generation, because there's a 5 to 7 year backlog on turbines now, will likely total get us maybe 75 gigawatts by 2030. And so I don't want to get into a back and forth over different energy sources so much as just to understand, did DOE do a modeling process to determine the specific impacts of this proposed budget on both supply, energy supply, and costs?
Absolutely. We have a team, in fact, that develops a model of the grid that looks at the grid by regions. And one of the comments you mentioned in your opening statement was we did issue a 202C order to keep a coal plant in southwestern Michigan open because of small reserve margins in MISO, and that plant was being retired without new capacity on the MISO grid to back it up. We were criticized for that, and 2 days later there was a blackout.
Did the state of Michigan agree with that analysis? Did you consult with them?
Well, we speak to the grid operators, the utility operator of that company, and had plenty of back and forth dialogue on that. I think in general, people realize this was a good move for energy.
Let's go back to the modeling that was done on this budget. Can you share that modeling with us?
Sure.
Great. I mentioned in my opening remarks the President's budget would cut funding at our national labs by $2.75 billion. At Sandia Labs in my home state, I'm hearing from engineers on pretty much every time I go home right now that this will significantly affect the Center for Integrated and Nanotechnologies, national user facilities, research equipment, that it'll limit fusion research on reactor environments and advanced materials, and jeopardize environmental monitoring, potentially exposing DOE to fines under a consent agreement with the New Mexico Environment Department. Did DOE do analysis and ask the labs for their analysis on the impacts of this budget on their ability to do their mission work?
The budget has not been allocated down to individual labs and all that, but all of the allocation of funds and decisions of how it'll be impacted will be done on a lab-by-lab basis. But no, this budget, unfortunately, comes from the tough world we're in today, where we American taxpayers pay $1 a tax and the federal government spends $1.30. That's just an unsustainable problem we're on. I share a passion for the national labs like you do, My goal is to grow, not shrink, the output of top quality science at our labs. But do we need to be a little wiser and get the political science, not the real science, out of labs? Do we need to be a little bit more efficient in running labs? We do. But are we going to gut the technology and science and what we're doing in fusion and nanotechnology at the labs? Absolutely, we are not.
Chairman, I'm out of time for now, at least until the next round.